Quarter notes are some of the most basic forms of rhythm. They're used all over different styles and genres of music, and even in different time signatures. And one of the best ways to understand how quarter notes work is to first make sure that we understand how time signatures work. There's two parts to the time signature. There's the top number and the bottom number. The top number tells us something very specific. The top number tells us how many beats fit in one measure. Now, if you don't remember what a measure is the space between two bar lines. So this area right here is one measure. And according to our time signature of 4/4, this is telling us that we can fit 4 beats in between these two bar lines. So we could fit 4 beats here. But what about the bottom number of a time signature? The bottom number of a time signature tells us something very different. The bottom number tells us what type of note gets 1 beat. And here's where a lot of students might be surprised. Most students think that a quarter note always gets 1 beat. But really, the only reason why a quarter note gets 1 beat is because the bottom number is 4. And you might be saying, well, how does the number 4 tell us that a quarter note gets 1 beat? Well, if you think of it like a fraction, it's a little bit clearer. Another way of saying that, instead of 4/4, you could say 4 quarters. And when you think of it that way, this time signature is literally telling us we can fit 4 quarter notes in one measure. We can fit 4 quarter notes in one measure. So over here, the top number tells us that we can fit 4 beats here. And now the bottom number is telling us that a quarter note gets 1 beat. So we can fit 4 of these quarter notes here. So they each get 1 beat, and you can clearly see how they add up to 4 beats. But what if the bottom number was different? What if instead of 4, what if the bottom number was 8? Well, believe it or not, in this scenario, a quarter note would not get 1 beat. Because if you think of it like a fraction, this is literally telling us that we can fit 4 eighth notes in one measure, and an eighth note would get 1 beat. Or if the bottom number was 2, that would tell us that we can fit 4 half notes in one measure, and a half note gets 1 beat. So, to bring it all back home, the only reason why a quarter note gets 1 beat is if the bottom number is 4, and our most common time signature happens to be 4/4. And that's why, most commonly, a quarter note gets 1 beat.